everybody, welcome back to Taji's World of Books and welcome to another book series recommendation video. Hey you guys, welcome back. So I am here today to talk to you about two different book series that I've recently read that I've really loved, and I want to share them with you because I just want to share the love because they're just so amazing. The second one, absolutely. There's some really gems in here. So let's just get to it. Okay, so the first series that I want to talk about is the Bergman Brother series. There are currently 4 books out in the series. The 5th one is dropping this month, if you will, and I'm not sure. She usually does a simultaneous audiobook release with the book that she drops, and then there's going to be a total of 7 books in the series because there are 7 brothers and we got to get it all. And so this is absolutely amazing. So book 1 is Only When It's Us, and this is Willa and Ryder, and I absolutely love this story because she has, first of all, these are by Chloe Liese, and I love her because every single book has some type of disability representation in them, and one of them just like really touched my heart in so many ways. 2 of them did. So we're going to talk about all of it and just put all the tea out there, but let's just start with this one. So Only When It's Us is about Willa and Ryder. And Willa is a soccer player, and she plays soccer in uni, and she is like amazing. She is a top tier level soccer player. She's going to the pros for sure. And she has a very difficult home life. Her father has never been in the picture. She doesn't know who her father is. And her mother is ill with cancer. And we learn more about her mother's story as the book unfolds. Clearly, it's only been Willa and her mother her entire life. Her mother was in the military, and she had a very prominent career as a nurse, and now Willa is really taking care of her and making sure that her mother has everything that she needs. They really are just barely making it. They don't have a lot of financial means to support them, so they get by the best that they can. Willa has an amazing best friend that she's really good friends with that we find out later on in the book, or in the series, and we learn that something tragic is going to happen. So she misses an exam, or something happens, and she has to keep her grade point average at a certain level to continue to play Division I soccer that she plays. And so she really needs this particular course that she's in, this, economics, marketing course that she's taking. And in that class is Ryder. And Ryder is hearing impaired. And she does not realize that he is hearing impaired. She just feels like he is this asshole of a guy that's being jerky. He kind of looks like a mountain guy. Like he's got this gruffy beard, and he wears his ball cap and this these flannel shirts, and he just is like an unattainable, kind of standoffish, really rude seeming guy. But she doesn't realize that it's because he's hearing impaired. And so when she is forced to work with him on a class project in this sort of forced proximity sort of situation, then we discover that they have much more in common than they realize. And as a result of her interactions with him, Ryder has decided that he wants to pursue cochlear implants, which he has never decided to do before, and he hasn't spoken in quite a while. And I have to say, it chokes me up. There's one part in this book where Ryder is interacting with Willa's mother, and it really chokes me up. Interacting with Willa's mother, and she is requesting, because she's dying, that he read to her, and he hasn't spoken in years because he had a bacterial meningitis infection, and that's what led to his hearing loss. And she requests that after he has his cochlear implant surgery, she requests that he read to her, and he's like, he basically is like, nope, not going to happen. He tries to take out his phone because he does a lot of communicating with his family via text, and he gets away with that. She's like, that's not going to work here. She's like, I'm sick. I can't read that. She's like, you're going to have to figure it out. And to watch that exchange between him and her, and him trying to find his voice and being this masculine, really strong dude, but being really vulnerable in that moment. Oh my God, it brought tears to my eyes, and it brings tears to my eyes right now, because it's such a turning point in his own personal journey of discovery, as well as his journey in getting to know Willa's mother before she passes away. It was so powerful, so powerful. So I absolutely love this book. while it's not my favorite book in the series, I loved, though there are some moments that were just nuggets, like gold nuggets of like goodness in this book. So let me say, overall, I gave it a 4. Angst-wise, I gave it a 3. And spice-wise, I gave it a 2. And this is an enemies to lovers trope. And it is so good. So then the next book in the series, and I love this because this is, you know, it's a family. They're all brothers. So we get to see cameos from previous couples and we see them interacting and seeing growth and development. So you're going to see everybody across the board, and you see little nuggets of people that are going to be coming in later books. Like you're seeing them grow and develop over time. And so it's just stellar. It's absolutely amazing. So the next book is Always Only You, and this is going to be Ren and Frankie's story. Ren is a professional hockey player. He is obviously the brother to Ryder. Frankie is 26 years old, and she works for the team. She manages the team, and so she works with Ren, and she's known Ren quite a long time. And she has been diagnosed with autism, so she is neurotypically divergent, if you will. She also suffers from rheumatoid arthritis, so she lives a very regimented life. And it is a forbidden romance in the sense that it is off limits for a manager to be involved in an intimate relationship with a player. But there also is an unrequited love type situation because Ren has held a flame for Frankie for years and years and years. Everybody knows it, but he has done nothing about it because he knows she is neurotypically divergent. And how is she going to respond to this? And is she going to be open? And he knows he has to tread delicately. Some circumstances happen and they become closer and closer, and there is a break-in that happens at her home and she does not feel safe or comfortable there, so Ren offers his house to her. Let me say this. While I liked this book, I felt bored throughout it. I felt like it was very slow going. I felt like it was a slow burn, and it had to be a slow burn because of her autism, because of her rheumatoid arthritis. It just took a while to get going. There's a chapter in here with, I think it's, I can't remember what chapter, but there's a chapter with Ziggy in here, and that is the best chapter. But everything else, I felt like this was not my favorite story and not my favorite book. So having said that, overall I gave it a 3. Angst-wise, I gave it a 3, and spice-wise, I gave it a 1. Like there was only like 1 or 2 sexy scenes, and I was like, I felt bored throughout it. But again, I still was committed enough that I wanted to continue with the series. The next book in the series is Ever After Always, and I absolutely love this. We've heard about Freya. This is the Bergman sister, and we've heard about her through the previous book, so we knew something was coming. She is in a marriage already to Aiden, and let me say this. This is a marriage in trouble and a second chance romance in terms of the trope, and this book I absolutely loved. Absolutely, hands down. Loved, loved, loved this book. Very, very emotional. So this is a marriage in trouble. Freya wants a baby and she's not getting pregnant, and it feels very frustrated that she's not getting pregnant. Aiden grew up in a very financially impoverished situation, and as a result, he does not want his family to be subject to what he was subject to growing up. So come hell or high water, he is going to be determined that that is never going to happen to his family, and he feels that it is the responsibility of the head of the house, the man, to provide for his family. And as a result, he doesn't communicate well with his wife. Now, he suffers tremendously from social anxiety and from generalized anxiety disorder to the point where it debilitates him physically, but he does not share any of this with his wife because he doesn't want to burden her, and he doesn't want her to put her dreams off for him. And he doesn't realize that the lack of communication is what's causing a deterioration in his marriage. He also doesn't communicate with her and let her know that the anxiety that he is experiencing is causing his body to fight against him, and so therefore he is suffering from impotence and is unable to fulfill his husbandly duties, if you will. But again, he is not going to communicate that with his wife. And because of the financial insecurity, he is working nonstop to try to launch this app that he feels like is going to give them the financial security and thus be set up so when the baby comes, they will be 100% ready. And that is what is causing a tremendous amount of rift and conflict in their marriage. And because Freya and the Bergmans have grown up wealthy, they don't know what it's like to have financial insecurity. So he feels like they can never understand. And so she shares a lot of her conflict and frustration with her brothers and with her mother. And so they then get involved and try to do things to help Aiden get his head out of his ass and to rely on his wife and to communicate with his wife about what's going on. And it is an amazing example of how breakdown can happen and how rebuilding can happen. And I love the scenes with the therapist and the things that the therapist has them do to try to help them improve their communication. And I just think, you know, it is just a wonderful, wonderful example of how a marriage in trouble can go from being in trouble to being healthy, if only we can take more steps. And Chloe Liese does say that there are going to be more books about this couple. This is not it, because it kind of left in a way that I was like, what? I'm not done. I need to know more. What happened? Where are they going? What's happening with this? What's happening with that? And so future books are definitely going to revisit this couple, and I'm so happy because there is some communication issues around Aiden with his mother and Aiden with his father, and some things are revealed, and this book is just absolutely freaking stellar. I'm telling you, this was like the creme de la creme. It's my favorite book in the entire series. So this overall I gave a 5. Angst-wise I gave it a 4, and spice-wise I gave it a 2. It is fabulous. I can't even say enough. And then there was like a part where like she got upset at Aiden for not communicating and not trusting her and not telling her what was going on, and then later on she does the same thing. But I loved how it was addressed, and I loved how it came out, and I loved that she owned it, and I loved that he owned it, and it was just this is just perfection. This is just perfection. I'm telling you, this is an amazing book. So good. You're gonna love it. And then this one is With You Forever. This is book 4, and this is about Axel and Rooney, and I loved this story so much. And I thought about how I wanted to share this and what I wanted to say about this. We learned that Axel is an artist, and he is short on money, and he can't paint because he has a artistic block, and he needs to figure out what to do. He has an inheritance that was left to him by an uncle in Sweden, but the caveats are that he has to be married in order to get the inheritance. And so he has to figure out what to do. And then Rooney is the best friend of Willa from book 1, the soccer player. And Rooney has played soccer as well. And she was in law school, and she has to drop out of law school because of a medical condition that she has. And I thought long and hard about what I wanted to say about this, because the medical condition that she suffers from is ulcerative colitis. And this is a condition that I have. And I was like, do I want to share that on the internet? And I'm like, I don't know. But I think I want to share it because this was an amazing representation. Now, while the condition here is an extreme version of colitis, I have a very mild, I'm blessed and lucky to say that I have a mild case of ulcerative colitis. And one of the things that I can say is that, you know, when eating and being afraid of what you eat and how it's going to impact you, and having to, when you're in a flare-up, having to fast or figure out what you can eat and when you can not eat, and timing and all of that really puts a damper on life. It is challenging. And so I thought that the author did a great representation. Now, it's interesting because I thought that the author, Rooney in this book definitely, she focuses on gluten-free eating, and she eats much more than I would have during a flare-up, because it is just a scary, scary time. It is an autoimmune disease that your body is fighting against you, and there's not much you can do about it, other than, work with your doctor, on a regular basis. They do talk about that it's an irritable bowel disease, and there's different grades of irritable bowel disease, and, how that impacts relationships. But I can say that when you find a partner that absolutely loves you for you, and it doesn't make a difference, it doesn't matter. But I've never had representation like this in a book, and so I just want to thank Chloe for putting this out there to recognize that this is a real life-altering disease, that you have to be mindful of your diet and mindful of where you go and where you are and whether you can leave the house and what happens around that. And so it's a highly personal issue, and it's also a highly not discussed issue. And so the fact that she's putting these type of diseases and illnesses and ailments in a romance novel, I absolutely, like, hands down love her for doing this. And so one of the things that they have to deal with is she has to divulge this, you know, to Axel, and what this means to their relationship and how he's going to perceive this. And I absolutely love it. You know, it was an amazing, because Axel is a borderline recluse. We learn that he is on the autism spectrum, and we learn that because of the introduction of, you know, here of the autism spectrum, and that makes it more accessible for people to kind of have a conversation around it. And you know, once he discovers it and discusses it, it all sort of comes together and makes sense. I love that we have cameos here from the twins, from Oliver and Vigo. They refer to them as the man cubs. Like, this is just, I will absolutely continue on with this series. It's a phenomenal series. It's an amazing series. She's doing a great job with this. I'm so curious to see where it goes in the future. I think that the next book is probably going to be about Oliver, and it's going to be an MM. I think is the situation, because something happens and Oliver sort of shows up out of the blue. So let's see what she does decide to do with this. But I'm going to say that this is the tropes are a fake marriage, and this is a slow burn. Overall, I gave it a 4. Angst-wise, I gave it a 3. And spice-wise, I gave it a 2. Definitely worth it. Okay, so the next series that I want to talk about is by J.A. Redmerski. I was a little nervous to try J.A. Redmerski because the last book that I tried by her, I didn't really like it, and I was just like, I don't know if I'm going to feel this. But this is The Edge of Never, and I have to say that this story, the second book is even better than the first, but this is an amazing story. It is a slow burn, friends to lovers. It's about Cameron and Andrew. So basically, the story is that Cameron is going through a change of life circumstance because her boyfriend passed away about a year earlier, unexpectedly, in a car crash, okay? And because of she's dealing with the death of her boyfriend, okay? Right 6 months later, her brother is in a drunk driving accident and he kills somebody through vehicular manslaughter, so he goes to jail. And then her parents get divorced because of cheating. So she's healing from all of this stuff and she's sort of floundering. So she is forced, her best friend basically says, like, you need to get out, like, you're, you know, isolating, you got all this stress going on, like, let's just go out, let's go hang out. So she forces her to go to a nightclub. Natalie's the best friend. Natalie forces Cameron to go to a nightclub. They go hang out. She's like, you just need to go out and have a good time. And Natalie's like, party girl, right? So they go out, and to make a long story short, Natalie's boyfriend, Damon, attacks Cameron and tries to force himself on her. And she's like, what the hell? You're my best friend. I've known you forever. Like, what are you doing? Like, this is not okay. Like, what's going on? And so she takes off and runs away and goes home. The next day, she calls her friend Natalie and she's like, I need to talk to you. You need to come over here now. And Natalie comes over and she tells, and Natalie and Damon have had an on and off again, really sort of tumultuous relationship. Natalie gets to her house and she's like, I need to tell you what's up. So she communicates to Natalie what happened, and Natalie's like, you're a fucking bitch, I don't believe you, you're a piece of shit, like, why would you say that? You just want him. And she's pissed and she takes off. So at that point, Cameron is like, I can't deal with this. I need out. And so she basically, at the drop of a hat, goes to Greyhound, picks up a bus ticket and to nowhere, and she's just off. She's just like, I need to get away. And while she's on this bus, she meets this guy named Andrew. Andrew is on the bus because his father is dying from brain cancer, and he is on his way from Texas to go to Wyoming, where he's originally from, to go meet his father, to go say goodbye to his father. And they meet on the bus, and they develop a sort of slow burn, cross-country communication, conversation around love, loss, friendship, family, and they just get to know each other, and there's a lot of twists and turns, and it really is about them getting to know each other and developing a rapport and facing loss and facing trauma and dealing with everything. Now, Andrew is harboring a secret, and we find out what it is at the end of the book, and this is a phenomenal story. And it is just, I can't even say how good it is. It is surprisingly really good. It is a 5-star read for sure. So I'm gonna say this is slow burn. This is enemies to lovers. Overall, it's a 5. Angst-wise, it is a 4, and spice-wise, it is a 3. And they just talk about everything from, you know, her relationship with her previous boyfriend who passed away, who she gave her virginity to, and what that was like, and that she never dealt with that, all the way to any relationships that he's had, to traveling across the country. It just is amazing. It is really their love story. It is phenomenal. If you have not read this, please go and check it out. Don't sleep on this. This is amazing. And then the second book is The Edge of Always. This is the follow-up to the first book, and I don't want to say too much about it because this story ends on a cliffhanger, okay? And this is a continuation of that story, and we see that we're dealing with loss, coping with loss, substance abuse, trauma, depression, untreated depression. Cameron is struggling. It is an amazing, amazing story. It's one of the best stories that I have read in a really, really long time. It delivered in all the ways. And let me say, just tagline, this book is about living your life the way you want to live it and not the way that people think you should live your life. Do you. You do you. That's this book. You do you. Overall, I'm going to say it's a 5. Angst-wise, it's a 3. And spice-wise, it is a 3. And I don't want to say any more about this because you don't want to know any more about it. Because it ends at a cliffhanger. You want to go into this knowing that you're going to live your life the way you want to live it and the way that it suits you best and not what other people think you should do for your life. It's a contemporary. It is just, I can't gush enough. I can't gush enough. It's so, so, so good. So please check this out. So you guys, that is all that I have for today. I really hope that you liked this video. Please like and subscribe. Come hang out with me some more. And do me a favor, hit that bell notification button so you can be notified every time I upload a new video, which is generally Monday, Wednesday, and Friday. And I really hope that you check out these books because they were amazing. This was a great reading week for me. I'm really, really thrilled. So that's all that I have for today, and I look forward to seeing you in my next video. Bye!